That music that so far hasn't gotten me copyright strikes. Alright, switching over in a second. I mean, most games don't enforce copyright strikes for music like that. But, do I need the cam on? Whatever. It's on, so it'll stay on for now. Is this Empire at War? This is Empire at War. I'm assuming you're at work, Rogue, or else you could... I'm in our dev server with the voice chat thing, so if any of the devs are around, some of them may pop in. I've tagged them with the everyone tag, so people love that. Okay, this is when you're supposed to record Empire at War thingy. Thank you. I'm just gonna add a new game cam thingy. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you should be able to see stuff now that isn't just me. Okay, so hello there everyone, and welcome to Corey Loses for our 13-year anniversary stream for Thrawn's Revenge. As that implies, I started the mod on June 6th, possibly June 8th, depending on how you want to classify things, 2006. And we are going to be doing our next release very soon. The 2.3 version of Imperial Civil War, Fall of the Republic 0.5 won't be too long after that, but still some other stuff to do. Before we get into any gameplay here, basically what this stream is going to be is me playing through some stuff, recording some stuff down for getting the beta ready. But before we do that, I am going to go over how the beta process is going to work. So it's not started just yet, but it's basically broken into 3 phases. All of these phases are going to run off of our Discord server. There's going to be a link in the description here. So if you're on the live stream page, you can just scroll down a bit and there'll be join the community Discord. You join that, and that'll be where we're running the beta, as well as having a bunch of other. We do a bunch of like weekly news updates there, a bunch of extra information as we develop stuff. But phase 1 is going to be the most limited pool. That's going to start on next Thursday. So that is... which day? I'm trying to find the actual date. Thursday, June 13th. So that is going to be for a basically hand-selected group of people that are originally from the last beta we did for 2.2. There are going to be a few people added to that, but basically they're the ones that helped test for the save crash issue with 2.2. It's going to be the most limited one because they're going to be finding some of the most obvious stuff that we've either not found ourselves or just gotten used to or lost track of or whatever. So there's going to be a week or two of that, and that'll depend on exactly how well it goes. Again, we'll be adding more people to that or not, depending on how many we feel we need at the time. But then at on June 28th, so 2 weeks after that, again, it could be a week earlier or a week later, depending on how smoothly everything goes. That's when it's going to be opened up to a group called the Admiral's Lounge on the Discord, rather. So that is anyone who has... there's basically an experience or rank system on the server, where when you're active, you gain experience, and that grants you extra ranks. When you're at a certain level with that, you can get into the beta on June 28th. If there's anyone who's clearly just spamming, trying to gain experience by like just spamming the server, we'll reset your rank, we'll take away the roles, or if you're being like really shitty about it, we will ban you. So please don't do that. Don't make our lives harder for this. It's basically the way we're trying to structure this is so that we have manageable pools, so we can sort of handle whatever level of feedback we're getting. If there's a really obvious bug when people start up a certain Galactic Conquest, if we have a smaller pool of people and 1 or 2 people are reporting that, that's manageable for us. If we have like the first day there's 70 people reporting the same thing, that is less useful, which is why we're doing it this way. But that'll go on. That second phase for the Admirals will go on for probably another 2 weeks. After that phase, we're going to go to the final phase of the actual beta, which is when it'll be available to everyone on the server. So again, that'll be a week or 2 after phase 2. Everyone on the Discord server will have access to it. We'll get a bit more feedback from that. And when that is done, assuming everything has gone smoothly through that, there's no major issues that have come up that we still don't have sorted out, it will be put onto the Steam Workshop. So 2.3 will be updated, or 2.2 will be updated to 2.3 on the Steam Workshop on Thursday, July 11th. So that's the plan for that. And keep in mind, this is all tentative. It can change however it needs to. Again, like family emergencies can happen, bugs can happen, new staff can happen, and that can make it go faster. Someone may have to leave for a bit, and that can make it go shorter or go longer. So just keep that in mind. None of this is set in stone. If it goes really smoothly, it can go a lot faster as well. So after we have a couple weeks on the Steam Workshop, when we have even more feedback, we've had enough time to do whatever patches we need to get things sorted at first, then we're going to upload the mod to mod database, because it doesn't have the same live update settings. And that'll make it available for anyone who has GOG or the disc, which we are hopefully still going to be able to support for 2.3. But if you have the disc version of Empire at War, I really do suggest you get Steam, because Steam has been patched by Petroglyph and it's much better. But we're going to get to testing here. I guess we'll do some CSA stuff. I'm going to go to Endor Aftermath with the CSA for this right now. We'll probably jump around a little bit. We've got our 2 full playthroughs going on already. This is going to be for a full playthrough. But, yeah. So, the reason I'm bringing this all up now, and I'm looking into the camera, is so that when people inevitably ask when the beta is going to happen and how the beta will work, you can look back into my eyes and know that you've seriously disappointed me for not listening or reading the news post. But anyways, thank you, Captain Gaming. Appreciate the super chat. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll go over a little bit of what's been changing as well. If you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them as we go. Can you play as the CSA and Air Progressives? You can. We did a full playthrough of that earlier. Valerie is currently working on the last few portraits for the CSA leaders. She's been doing custom hand-drawn ones for all the heroes. Right now, it's just Baruch Sloan, Lockerbie, and Fiola, who don't have their custom ones yet. Everyone else has. Trying to make them the art style a little bit more consistent is basically the goal with that. There's a lot of text to still be done. That is probably going to be ongoing throughout the beta. So there's still going to be a lot of missing stuff like that. I'm less concerned about that. Okay. Because this is testing, I'm just going to turn this on so we can see everything. I'm going to enable Cruel AI. So this is I believe this is a new Maldruid hero, Grand Moff Thurbin. He has an allegiance. He was basically put in to replace the other guy, the other allegiance hero they had, because that guy fit a little bit better with the Empire at that time, rather than the Greater Maldruid. They also have another hero who's in a... Oh, shit. That'll be something to fix then.
Ready for attack.
Alright, CSA... rule. I'm gonna go to the other GC to see if it applies there, or if it's just because the extra scripts haven't been put in here. Galactic Conquest. Do Art of War. Is there a way to make it so I can move ships when the game is paused? No, unfortunately not. We can't change functions like that in the game.
System conquered. Building under
All right.
construction.
So it may just be that the extra scripts aren't in Empires at War if you turn on Cruel AI,
Coming about.
which is why the AI was able to gain control of our units. Okay, yeah, that's what it looks like.
Constructing unit.
I'm not sure why the bulwark icon still isn't in here. I made one earlier.
Tactical battle imminent.
So yeah, we basically have 3 extra difficulty modifiers there, where you have easy, normal, and hard. Now you have also cruel, easy, normal, and hard. So on cruel, the AI gets a lot of bonuses for credits and other stuff like that. Credits and build time especially. That way we can keep the AI by default without bullshit bonuses to make it harder, but for people who want that extra challenge for like the kind of setup that Republic at War and AOTR have, then you have those extra options.
Reinforcements en route.
What's my favorite faction? Probably the Empire of the Hand, because it was something where we had a bit more freedom than with other factions.
Awaiting command.
Star Destroyers are great, but there's only so many times you can make a
En route.
Destination.
space triangle,
Reinforcements en route.
or it's like, is
Reinforcements
this really
cancelled.
necessary? What factions will have boarding shuttles? Currently in 2.3, the New Republic and the Empire during Era 2 are the only ones that do. We're probably going to expand that to other factions as well. Not for 2.3, but for later stuff.
Mission log updated.
I wonder if the CSA should get some paid for their cults. The CSA is basically like repressive steampunk corporate state, so I don't know how much they'd be into like paint jobs for their units and symbols like that. Was the CSA going to get the Grand Admiral who was tried to keep the CSA Imperial? Yeah, that was Makati. They wouldn't be getting him because he wasn't working for the CSA. He was working against them.
Tactical battle imminent.
They're probably like one of the GCs that we want to add at some point when we get back to adding Galactic Conquest instead of just fleshing out the ones we have. Would be a GC where it is like Makati's Imperial forces against the CSA.
The enemy.
Reinforcements en route. Reinforcements en route. Reinforcements en route.
Best ship available to the CSA is probably this one, the Bulwark 3.
Our target priority is the laser.
Their capital fleet isn't ideal.
Reinforcements.
They have a lot of smaller ships. They're
We'll be there shortly.
pretty heavy on fighters.
Lasers are our target. Our target priority is the laser cannons.
Reinforcements.
These guys are all gonna die.
Reinforcements en route. Getting a lock.
The lasers are our target. Our target priority is the laser.
Just jump everyone in a place where they're gonna die, and then we're good.
Target lock.
Tank fins. These are T-Wings, I believe. They still need an icon.
Target confirmed. As good as gone.
Stay in formation. I got one.
Pterodactyl. Yeah, so For those who are unaware, this picture here, all the major warlords, the only picture that exists of them in canon is when Dala is killing them. So all the icons for them in the mod are them dying. That's one of the reasons we're doing stuff like the custom portraits that Valerie's working on, because then we can eventually draw them in positions where they're not suffocating, which is always nice. Alright, Lockerbie. Going Lockerbie what she gotta be. You're not really doing anything. Your shields are back. That's good.
I got fighters on me.
Multiplayer death matches when. We should do that again when people are free. I need to get back to doing community matches in general, but the last few months have not been conducive to that. Hey Lockerbie, you're in a bad position. What's your thoughts on the uglies? Well, there will probably be a few different kinds of ugly fighters in the future, especially when we're focusing a bit on differentiating some Imperials, or for Hutts later. But some are much better than others as far as the designs go. But they're all like mixed together scraps, so.
The lasers are our target. Take out the iron
So yeah, they're the CSA had a bunch of companies that weren't necessarily part of them, but they were like signatories, and they had business connections, if nothing else. And the Togs were part of that. So, Tens, gotta die.
Our primary target is those iron
Trier's been
Take out the iron.
surviving for a while.
Our target priority is the laser.
Alright. How are the Lucrehawks in the pod? Well, they're quite old. They're really good carriers, like always. They've got some good defensive stats, but obviously their individual firepower isn't really good. Basically what you'd expect from really old converted freighters. Especially the CSA ones, which are basically surplus. Not even necessarily battleships from the CIS, but some battleships.
Priority is the laser cannons. The lasers are our target.
These war pods, you're gonna kill the ISD for me. Alright, all of our capital ships have taken a good amount of fire, but it looks like they should all live. Invincible. I'm actually gonna send the Invincible after the ISD.
Where'd he go? Target locked.
Direct fire.
If there's a specific faction you guys want me to play, or a specific Galactic Conquest you guys want me to play, just throw it out there as well. Because again, we're going to be jumping around a fair bit.
Destroy the engines.
Eliminating target.
I'm going to make a list of icons.
Target locked.
Bulwark 1. E-Wing.
Have them now.
Yeah, I should actually do the EA, because I haven't really shown off their new ships on the channel. That's a good point.
Excellent shot. That's got him. I'm on them. I got one.
At any point in the future, will an upgrade feature like in Phoenix Rising or something similar be added? So, you can't really do that kind of upgrade system with more than 3 factions. Unless you only have it for the first 3 factions, so Empire, the Hand, the Republic, and Imperials. And we do have some research stuff but it's whatever we can put in with the story scripting that's available for the other factions. Because upgrades like Phoenix Rising, they kind of work off of locking and unlocking units based on the research, which you can't use story scripting to lock and unlock units beyond the factions coded as Empire, Rebels, and Underworld. So we can't implement that kind of strict upgrade system to Imperial Civil War. There are kind of other ways to do it where it's not very clean. Like, it'd be one thing where you build the unit and then it takes itself away and spawns a different unit based on what research level you're at for something, which has a lot of background scripting that needs to go on, would probably cause some significant performance issues, and then the AI would never really know what its units are. Auto-resolve would never really know what the units are. Like, a tier 4 ISD would still be doing just as well in auto-resolve as a tier 1, and the AI wouldn't know that they've upgraded to tier 4, so it's not great.
I need help here. Encountering resistance. Can anyone else see him? Where are you?
Ship unit count doubled. So yeah, we've expanded the pop cap to 120 and then scaled things differently within that. It gives us more room to work around with ships on the lower tiers. So it's basically the same thing we did with 2.2 when we moved the pop cap from 40 to 60, where ISDs went from costing 4 pop cap to 6 pop cap. Because then otherwise you have, say, a Lancer frigate taking up 1 pop cap and being a quarter of an ISD, so there's never really any reason to build anything but the capital ships, because everything else is just so slot inefficient. And it's the same logic that was applied here. Like, ISDs are now 12 pop cap, but that means we can have things like Carrax be 2 or whatever. So if you're spamming small ships, it does mean you can have a lot more of them. If you're using ISDs, you're going to get the exact same amount. Still going to be 10. No chance the Tog Cruise will be added to the CSA as a hero. Definitely not as a hero. It's not impossible that when we make it for other stuff, or if we make it for other stuff, it could be available to them, but
Activated.
it kind of fits into the same roles that other stuff they have already do. The CSA probably won't get too many more units for a while. Our focus with 2.4 is going to be on adding the Hapens, a couple more other Imperial units for the other Warlord factions to differentiate them a little bit more again, and then probably some Empire of the Hand unit reworks. Yeah, so I think I'll go straight to... So actually, we'll do one ground battle, and then we're going to go to the Aride Authority.
Receiving orders.
Acknowledged.
As you wish.
Moving into position.
Squadron moving out.
Let's see. Beyond, which one are you? 22. How do I unlock the vendor in Fall Republic? Do I tech up? What do I do? So you'll be able to research the vendors, as others are saying in the chat. At about week 12, the research option opens. Because Fall of the Republic only has 2 playable factions, even if we add a 3rd eventually, it's never going to have the number of factions that ICW has. We're able to do a lot more with research, because there's not going to be the same disparity between factions in that case.
Invasion commencing.
Yeah, it was already
Use your reinforcements.
very difficult to find usable capital ships for them because they're not really that kind of faction.
Capacity.
Reporting. Moving out. Advancing. Squad, move out.
Did the Espos not get their... Okay, Espos still need rockets.
There they are.
What's the status of Fall of the Republic? Well, you can see with the playthrough basically what the status is, and then we also have on the Discord weekly progress posts for everything.
Right away, sir.
I am waiting right away.
One of the things we've talked about doing is making the strike breakers and the
Standing by.
jail speeders be just repulsor tanks rather than being full-on air cruisers. Makes it a bit easier to balance them,
Ready.
even when other stuff can target air units.
Squad, advance.
And then it saves us from having to use another category for,
Moving.
Moving to
or
secondary.
making up another
Fear.
Moving
either
to
AI
secondary
category and then modifier category for them because you can only have so many different ones. Put up those bit fields.
We secured a landing zone.
No, the Galactic Republic has Clone Wars rosters, and they have some older ships, but not really anything from other than the Invincibles from like
Emperor.
thousands of years BBY. That generally stuff didn't last that long. Army troopers aren't going to get the rockets. They're lower tier infantry
Awaiting your command.
for factions that have other options. Like the stormtroopers are their mainline infantry, and then the army troopers are supposed to be spammable and less specialized. Raptors have them. That's what those commits that I did over the weekend, Mike. They have all that stuff now.
If I must.
What side am I playing? This is the Corporate Sector Authority, so the new faction that's added in
We will
2.3.
not survive.
Ready for orders. Receiving orders.
Bombing run available.
Warm up.
Aldrich
Jail
knowledge.
speeders need to be
Heading
changed still. I was gonna save them for the full projectile research or rework, but
Squadron reporting. Gold Squadron commencing attack.
that's gonna be 2.4, so they still need to get changed themselves. Ordo was asking about the concussion missile split,
Strike.
so
Heading out.
it'll be changed a little bit more with the full projectile rework, but concussion missiles in 2.2 and before, we basically just had anti-fighter versions of them.
I shall
With 2.3, we have we've added proper assault concussion missiles. So for stuff like the VSDs, they're actually useful against capital ships for that, and not good against fighters. That'll be fleshed out again a little bit more. Where right now all ship-based ones are the assault ones, and all fighter-based ones are the anti-fighter ones. Whereas in the future there may be some fighters that'll have the anti-ship version, some ships that have the anti-fighter versions, and there'll probably be a few different tiers within that as well.
Reinforcements en route.
So that'll still be changed a little bit.
At
Heading out.
maximum unit capacity.
What do you think of No Man's Sky met Empire at War fleet building with modern graphics? I don't know what that would really look like.
Target confirmed.
Reporting. Transit proceeding.
You don't really want FPS, RTS mixes
They won't escape.
like that.
It will be done.
You end up having to sacrifice a lot of depth in either area.
They are mine.
Any chance the Procurator, Rathana Heavy Cruiser? Procurator, potentially. We have to come up with designs for it, is the thing. Shit. Did that not get fixed? Fuck, that's not good. That is frustrating. We've had the last few weeks where that bug was gone. It was fixed. That is shit. Yeah, if something is barely a name in a source book, like it's just a like Rathana Heavy Cruiser would just be Heavy Cruiser from Rathana. It doesn't really tell you anything. That's not an actual. There's nothing to work with there. It's not the playthrough version, Rafay. Yeah, Pelion has always been in the mod. Alright, so we'll do a Raidu. To that, Air 1. Then we'll take a look at the new Raidu ships.
Planetary control achieved.
We're on the move.
Understood.
Okay, so we've got Vigil, we've got the Victory and the Imperial class icons.
Moving to coordinates.
Unit in
Vehicle
production.
in production.
Vehicle
Unit
in production.
production.
And Delvardis has a Praetor, so we can see the model with that. I'll just drop an escort carrier in there. I want to say Delvardis' little animation was in 2.2, but it may have been finished since then.
Cruiser online. Navigating.
Hopefully that crash isn't the same old bug. That would make me very sad.
Cruiser online. Moving to sector.
So yeah, so for new units, the Errata Authority have the Vigil Corvette, the Imperial 2 class frigate, so the Rand Ecliptic, which we'll see in a minute, and the Victory class frigate, which we'll also see in a minute. Who are you attacking? Mustafar? Don't care.
Tactical battle imminent.
Yeah, the Duskin League is not a playable faction anymore.
Enemy forces ahead.
Choose your reinforcements.
Alright, so let's just put some of
Confirm.
the frigates around it.
Right away.
Understood. Moving to sector. Carrack en route. Understood. Moving to sector. Carrack en route.
Cruiser here.
Closing on target.
Carrack commander here.
So Radu's unit roster looks a fair bit different from what they did in the last version. They got a couple new unique things, and they also had stuff like the torpedo sphere before. TIE Punishers right here.
Setting up my run.
Cruiser online.
We won't be around much longer. I'm on this one. Target locked. Let's go after them. Under control. I got a target.
Reporting.
Ready.
What are your orders?
Yes, sir.
Watch out. It's
Our
coming
target
around.
priority is the laser cannons.
Actually,
Orders, sir.
Bomber standing by.
Returning to your position.
I'm gonna try something out. I think we might go back to the CSA in a second, unless the Raidu have the PX4.
Nowhere to go. Taking my scopes are jammed.
Commander, they're hitting us.
I'll take care of this.
Losing power. Enemies in range.
What are your orders?
Cruiser stand.
Rafay, the fix was removing specific AI function, AI changes. There wouldn't be anything that we've done that would reduce the frequency. It's either there or it's not. So
Roger that.
basically it just means that what I reverted didn't fix it, if that's the case.
Laser cannons.
Warm up.
Carrack commander.
It's not the kind of thing where it could just be made less frequent until it's not. It's
What are your orders?
not. It's a binary thing.
TIE squadron here. Course set.
No, the asserter is not going to be done for 2.3.
Falling out of formation.
Right now, art-wise, I'm focusing on stuff for Fall of the Republic. Then once the majority of that is done, I'll probably go back to working on the asserter model. So it'll probably be in 2.4.
What are your orders?
Intercepting.
Preparing for which beta? Well, preparing for the beta of the mod I'm currently playing.
Pursuing enemy forces.
TIE Hunters have been in the mod for a long time as well. Any improvements with boarding shuttles for New Republic and other factions? Just have it. No, so having multiple shuttles doesn't increase the chance of capturing stuff other than the fact that you can use the ability more times if it fails. I was talking about it a bit earlier in the stream where it's not being expanded to other factions yet, but it may be in later versions. You'll be able to toggle on or off the aggressive AI function at the beta of the full 2.3 release. Right now you can't turn it off after it's been turned on. It's something that I'd like to add in the future, but it's also I would need to make sure that it doesn't break anything when that happens.
Carrack commander here.
Reporting.
Especially because with the toggle buttons, the saving games doesn't always save the state of the button, and it's not actually tied to the button. Pressing the button just fires story events, so the button state doesn't really give you the best idea of whether it's on or not. So we'll need to rework it a bit so we can put a place in the UI where you can have both buttons, one to turn it on, one to turn it off. So then if you press the on button, that always turns it on. Press the off button, that always turns it off, and then instead of toggling one button. And then we have to make sure that the story scripting to switch the AI for those doesn't break anything, which is always a concern.
Cruiser here.
But eventually you will be able to turn it off. Right now it's just on and then it's on.
Go after them. Attack formation is coming around. I'm on them.
Returning to your position. Go after the
Will it be possible for a Steam user to revert to 2.2.5 after 2.3's release? No. So, with the Steam Workshop, you can only have one version of a mod supported, like unless you made a new Workshop entry for the older version,
We're in position.
which isn't impossible, but it's not something like we don't want to have all that floating around. If people really want it, they can download it off of Mod Database. We plan to leave those up. But it doesn't really make sense to make a new Workshop item for an older thing, or to not take advantage of Steam's updating functions.
Coming around. My scopes are jammed. Where are the others? Enemies fire.
Why does the Republic have the ability to capture ships in Era 4 or 5? It was the majority say. So it's not really about being the majority, like the biggest faction. It's just something that they always did. The New Republic was always engaged in capturing and using Imperial vessels, whereas the Empire wasn't necessarily interested in that as much, other than when Thrawn was doing it.
What are your orders? Understood.
Losing power. I'll take care of this. Losing control. We're being targeted. I can't switch position. Orders, sir.
That's not good. So that needs to be fixed. See what part of the texture that's on.
Attack. Able to shake them. Taking fire. Draw their fire. I've been hit. Engines are malfunctioning. Blasted scum. Nowhere to go. Losing power. Losing control.
Well, like I said, eventually it'll probably be expanded because
Standing by. Shields.
like a lot of people like things like being able to build ships that capture planets, but our stand-in for that is like actually capturing the ships rather than simulating that by building it. Like you can actually just go in and take the ship, so that you don't need to simulate capturing it with that.
Reporting.
So we'll probably expand it for other factions just so that that option is there, even if it's not necessarily the most lore-friendly thing for a lot of factions to want to do that.
Commander here. Reporting.
Where are the others?
Carrick en route.
System is down. Shields almost gone.
What are your orders? Carrick Commander here.
Go after the stragglers. Cover me now.
Choose your reinforcements.
Alright, I guess I can do more than just
Order confirmed.
show the new stuff.
Navigating to coordinates.
We'll go in and kill them now.
He's headed your direction. Maneuvering. Target
Heading to destination.
Instead of just working off a few smaller frigates into one capital ship.
Reporting. What are your orders?
Yeah, the Vigil, I made the model, Bob did the texture. The Victory, this is Mr. Puerto Rican's first model in the mod, so he's been learning pretty quickly. Bob did the texture for that one. Then the Rand Ecliptic, what was just there? Oh, it's all on fire now, but Bob did the model and texture for this one. Was the range ever adjusted for the Vader? That changed in 2.2.
Destroyer standing by.
And then in 2.3, the range for everything was adjusted.
I'm on this one. Target locked. Under control. Watch it.
So the Liberty does not have more firepower. I feel like the Home 1 outguns it when the wiki hits it. So Wikipedia, not always a great source. Home 1 is much bigger than the Liberties, and they're both converted liners. And there's a lot of different places that have divergent stats, including divergent size for the Home 1 type. Where if you go with the movies, it's closer to 2,800 meters, and if you go with some other source books, it's closer to 1,200 meters, which is the size of Liberty. So for the sources that put it at the same size as Liberties, they tended to have less firepower than what you'd get from just going off of the movie, which is what we do for the size.
Yes, Commander. Awaiting orders.
Reporting.
So Wikipedia is a good starting point for stuff. You're usually, what we tend to do is go to the original source and then decide when there's contradictions, which one makes most sense. And usually the movie takes precedence over anything else unless there's a specific reason not to. Okay, so that's done.
Constructing. Enemy fleet approaching. Tactical battle imminent.
The ground unit, that's... Okay, we do have PX4s. That's perfect. That's what I wanted.
Acknowledged.
Ahead to that position.
Construction complete. Invasion commencing. Reporting. Choose your reinforcements.
Acknowledged.
Okay, so I'm gonna drop some of them in.
Moving out, sir.
But yeah, so our focus with 2.4 is going to be on the Hapens as the new playable faction with 2.3 CSA. There's going to be some other factions that get a little bit of work on the galactic level, some setup. But we're also going to be working on overall projectile changes, which will include some subsystem changes on ships. And we will probably also be getting... We're going to try to get our galactic government mechanics fleshed out for at least a couple factions, where there's going to be a bit more to do on the galactic level.
We've located the enemy.
Yeah, this is the upcoming 2.3 version mirror.
Awaiting orders.
Ready.
I'm testing stuff to get ready for beta.
Right away. Target acquired.
Okay, so it doesn't seem to be... I was hoping the PX4 would have something wrong with it, because it kind of lined up with when I dropped the PX4 last time. Now I've just gotten it killed for nothing. Didn't Raidu get a new dreadnought to show off? No. So the Asserter is coming in the future for Raidu, but it's not done for 2.3.
Unit destroyed.
What is your order?
Really wish I could play this model. So if you, a lot of people seem to jump in and play the largest Galactic Conquest, and if they lag on the Galactic level, they'll think that that's just standard performance, but
Ready.
EAW, especially on the Galactic level, is a CPU-gated game, so it can only use one CPU core, which means that more planets, more factions, more AI running is going to lag the game more. So if you're just lagging on the Galactic level, then if you play smaller Galactic Conquests that are closer to base game size, you should get similar performance. With tactical modes, we tend to optimize our models a lot more than a lot of other mods to make sure that people are able to run it with close to base game performance. So I'd suggest giving that a try if you've only tried like Empire's End or whatever to do a smaller GC, like Essence of War, which is still 80 planets, but it'll run much better than 140 planets. Or the Thrawn campaign, which is 50 planets and closer to what you get out of the base game as far as GC size.
Reporting in.
Yeah, the A9 has been in since 2.1, I think.
Target confirmed.
Definitely 2.2. I thought it was in 2.1, but I may be wrong about that.
There will be nothing left of them. They shall perish.
Will the Asserter be based on Fractal's design? So the actual design is because he's the one that made the official one. But for ship stats, we always go with the official stats. Fractal likes to put a bunch of weird shit on his model, on his ship designs in terms of what they're capable of, which doesn't work out well for balance or the actual design. Like the super laser on the Asserter and the Bellator is a prime example of that. I'm absolutely not doing that.
They will not be a problem.
Yeah, Empire War can only use one CPU core. It's not something mods can do anything about, it's part of the game engine. So it's not that TR does that, it's that Empire War does. I should put... There we go.
Reporting in, sir. They have engagements. Attack you.
How do I run? So it should run fine. It's just larger galactic conquests are always going to be, or take more to run.
Copy that.
So as long as you're sticking to galactic conquests that are less strenuous than a CPU with a lower clock speed, is still going to run the game fine.
Acknowledged. Target acquired.
How will the design of the Mandarin look? We haven't done a concept for it yet, so we do not know yet.
Weapons armed.
AT-AT ready. Destination set.
Transport here. Heading out. Moving to attack.
Armored transport ready.
Yeah, we tried to spread out the 3 Juggernaut types in the mod a little bit more. So you have A5s, A6s, and B5s in different places. B5 is the one from the base game that does, it's basically a pure transport. The A5 and A6 are more combat-oriented ones,
Copy.
like the Clone Wars era ones. Well, the procured it. So, no, nothing that Fractal has done outside of the official works factors into the mod at all. When we do a concept for the Procurator, it'll be based on our own designs. It may be inspired by a background Dark Empire ship or whatever, like a lot of Fractal's work is. But the stuff that Fractal does that hasn't been in official source books don't factor in any more than any other fan design does. Are there 2 Imperial heroes, one is Zero Admiral that should switch to the Republic? We don't have any hero, like,
Reporting in.
for minor heroes like that, especially, I don't know the stories of a lot of the Crimson Empire heroes very well, but the New Republic has enough heroes in basically every GC that they don't need to get the defectors that are more important as Imperial people, even in cases where they do defect, unless there's a specific situation where it's important for whatever story events happen in the GC.
Right away, sir.
We typically don't do that.
Bombing run available.
What are your orders?
Yes, Commander.
Let's get sensor. Yay!
Sensor node.
Artillery's down, so that'll make it harder for them to kill
Construction.
this stuff, which they are going to kill now. Before NT3.
AT-AT destroyed.
Awaiting orders.
Yep.
This way. Over there. Acknowledged. Destination.
Well, if you can get
set.
past your friend's
Proceeding.
corpse, that's really the main thing there.
Moving out.
On my way. Moving out. As you wish. Right away. Copy.
Yeah, the Asserter, kind of like the Bowder, is slated to be more of a direct combat-oriented ship and really good against other large ships. So, individual heavier weapons,
Reporting.
probably not a huge fighter complement.
Repair station
Is it?
constructing. Construction complete.
I copy.
Bombardment available. Right away.
Reporting. This way.
Do the Capitol buildings continue to spawn as well? Yep.
Ready. Moving to that area, sir. Heading out.
Yes, sir. Over there. Acknowledged.
Yes, sir.
Transport here. Destination set.
I mean, if they're quad ion cannons, they're going to be as powerful as other quad ion cannons. If they're single, they're going to be as powerful as other single ones.
Move out. Let's go.
Projectile reworks will have probably a little bit extra variation within that, but
Going.
if it's the same, when it's the same caliber, it ends up being the same power. They have larger ones, so it'll be more powerful, but that'll also, like, they're not going to have that much more extra reactor power, so it's not like they're going to have, like, one ion cannon shred half the shields of a Mon Calamari or something.
Proceeding. Ready. On my way.
Moving to secondary position.
No, that doesn't really read like that to me. Like, today we're going to be talking about the next release of Imperial Civil War. So the next release, the 1.0 version of which came out way back in 2010. So the first version came out in 2010. The next version is coming out soon. It doesn't mean you're getting 1.0 next. Have you ever thought of making SSDs capturable? Absolutely not.
There they are.
There would not be a good functional way to do that.
Load your weapon.
Armed and ready.
The only cases where that would happen is if there's specific story scripted events where we have basically full control over everything that's happening, not like a basic gameplay mechanic.
Awaiting orders.
Reporting in. Moving out.
We've secured a landing zone.
What are your orders? As you wish. Right away. Copy that.
Well, one of Zinj's factional strengths is that he has the dedicated better infantry. So if Zinj had 2 tiers of infantry, it'd be stormtroopers and raptor troopers, rather than
Heading out.
throwing in extra worse ones on that.
Copy.
At your command.
We only have so many avenues where we can differentiate Imperial factions, and that's one of them in that case, where Zinj has something obvious that can separate it from the other factions a bit.
En route.
Reporting. Right away, sir. Squad, advance.
Repair station
Order
constructed.
acknowledged. Move out.
Copy. Let's go.
Get back to the repairs.
I copy.
Construction complete.
Reporting.
Order, sir.
Asterix.
Attack. All right, man. Yes, cover.
Transport here.
Reporting.
Right. Is there a sensor array down here? That seems like a good place for a sensor array.
Transport ready.
Okay, Plex troopers are still spawning as garrisons, so I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen.
We've secured an abandoned sensor array.
Here we go.
Ready for orders.
Juggernaut ready.
Alright, we got a T3 coming around the edge here. How come the Pentastar element uses a lot of CA, Clone Wars airships? So basically a lot of the older Clone Wars era stuff was relegated to Outer Rim service in the Empire. Because the Pentastar alignment is there, as a way to help differentiate between the Imperials a bit more, we gave them some of the older tech in addition to some of the better tech coming from Over Sector Outer being a very prominent position, so they have a mix there. Which of course leads to people saying, oh, they're a Clone Wars faction, they need to have more Clone Wars stuff, when really it's like, no, we added what we did to have that slight flavor to them, that variation. It's not because they are a Clone Wars faction. So basically just a mix of what would have been sent out there plus what would have been built there.
As you wish.
That's how we determined their
Moving Moving to
unit
attack.
list.
Targeting. Cannons charged. Attack. Right away. Copy that. Fire. Open fire. Attack that target.
Bombardment available. Bombardment incoming.
Is it possible to script the AI to attempt to board your ships? It's possible, but they'd be really bad at it.
Heading out.
And so if they were regularly trying to focus on that, it'd just make the AI easier to beat.
Let's go.
Like, significantly easier to beat. And especially when the AI very rarely wins battles like that, and the player's more likely to retreat before they have a chance to have a battle structured around capturing ships like the player may do. It's a lot, like, it'd be a lot of work to get them to actually do it for a situation that would almost never come up in game. Alright, so concerned about that crash. Do Empire of the Hand a bit. Would you ever think of retrofitting the Vendors and Munificence to have more firepower to fit Imperial Doctrine? Not really. The Munificence already have a fair amount of firepower for how big the ships were. Like, there's nothing you can really remove to add more reactor power to them and make it make sense that they have more firepower. For the Vendors, if you do that, then you'd be doing that by removing fighters, and then if you're just making them another ship in that range with fewer fighters and more firepower, then you're just edging it into a range or into a role that's already filled by a bunch of other ships, especially the Precursor, the Victory 2. So having a heavy cruiser that's a carrier isn't a role that many other things fill, and it's something that the Venator does, so we wouldn't want to remove it from that role.
Orders confirmed.
Tactical battle imminent.
Did you program it similar to the Antilles AoE we can build? Program what? Is that still about the boarding?
Enemy forces ahead.
Heavy cruiser.
Program what about it to be similar to that? Like, you could get a different object deployed that does, like, the way weaken ability or weaken enemy works is that it just places an object that has an effect, and technically you could have the ship place an object that does the boarding in the same way the shuttle does, but that doesn't really change
Choose your
the fact that you can't, like, there's nothing you can do to make the ability work how it does but still make sense to have the AI using it. Like, the problem isn't that the AI doesn't know how to click the button or wouldn't know how to click the button. We can make it click whatever buttons we want and activate whatever ability we want. It's just that they'd have to build the shuttle, know to get the shuttle into the right position, know that it has to survive, know that they're structuring their battle plan around capturing that ship, and then also protect that ship. When part of the thing that you're trying to do to capture the ship is weaken the ship so that you can actually capture it. So there's not really, like, it'd be a fuck ton of work just to make them understand what it's doing, and once you're in that position, they're almost never going to be able to use it anyways. So there's not really, it's not worth doing that, and especially when when the ability exists as a way to let the player use certain units with other factions, like, there's not really much of a reason to do it for the AI either.
Arms open. Mega Mazers primed.
Like, you're not going to get a a system where the AI benefits from capturing ships. It's structured as an ability to be a risk to do it, but the benefit you're getting is for the flavor of having those extra ships. So if you want the AI to be a challenge, then having it where they're wasting half of their attacks just trying to capture ships that they're probably never going to get away with and rarely going to use, then you're cutting their combat efficiency by a lot,
Ready for
and then the ship is just going to die anyways.
for the Empire. TIE squadron standing by.
Thanks, Kumar. Other than some, I think we might have added some corporations for the CSA, but I don't think other than that we've added other new corporations, Tritone.
We're moving out.
I'm on them. Stay in formation. Falling out of formation.
Awaiting your command.
Locking on.
Setting course.
Draw their fire.
Understood.
Enemies in range.
Is there any way to use to use Lucky Shot, change the projectile to an A-wing and kill the squadron?
Target locked.
I mean, you can just have a missile that, or any projectile, use the whatever model you want. That part's really easy. As far as tracking the thing that shot it to kill it, well, you'd have to just attach a script to the unit so that when the ability is used, it kills the unit that fired it.
Engaging the enemy.
Excellent shot. I got
Roger that.
Stay in
Moving
formation.
to coordinates.
Get behind them. I have them now. Be good for another attack.
Okay. So I guess the first thing I'm going to have to tell people during the beta to look for is that ground crash. That's annoying.
Do you have something to
Target
report?
priority is the laser fires.
I really want to do another Empire of the Hand playthrough. I haven't in a long time. A lot of stuff's going to change for them in the future, too. How long will I stream for, by the way? I'm not sure.
I'm ready. Weapons ready. Stay in formation. Get behind them.
At least another hour. Maybe two.
Be destroyed.
What is it you want? Attack position. Ready for the kill.
Direct fire on the enemies.
Alright. Here we go.
Intercepting. Stay in formation. Target locked. You have need of my skills?
Oh.
Eliminating target. I already have a plan. Excellent shot.
Alright. I just got to quickly check something here. Sorry. Oh, Valerie just sent me the last of the icons. All right. What are my thoughts on Galaxy's Edge? I don't really have any. Haven't been there. I don't know that I'll ever be able to go.
Mission log updated.
Looks kind of cool. It was nice seeing the like Billy D, Harrison, Mark Hamill, George Lucas all in one place. That was fun to see. But it also, we got that amazing thing with the Christian guy from the podcast where he was freaking out, and I thought that was a great look for him.
your reinforcements.
Course plotted.
This is one of the several new maps for this build. This is the one that I started on the mapping stream that time, and then Rogue has finished the base and all that. So it ended up a lot better than I thought it would.
All weapons loaded. T4B mobile.
Yeah, so Kariak was a planet that the Empire of the Hand only liberated much later. So, especially when we're fleshing out other stuff for them to fight in the unknown regions, it makes sense for that to be controlled as an independent forces planet at the start.
Standing by. Tank brigade here.
We've secured a build pad.
Reporting in. Roger that.
See if we can sneak on in there.
Copy.
MMTs, let's go up this way.
Moving into position.
RFTs. Yeah, so a couple months ago, we went over some plans to rework the Empire of the Hand. Ground units are all going to be redone. A lot of their space units are going to be redone. And we're going to try to make them more of a mix of Chiss stuff, local forces, and their own design. So like the Chiss engineers modifying Imperial units.
Engaging target. Ready. Commencing attack. Form up. Wait.
So that'll start coming in. Maybe, hopefully we'll get a couple of the units ready for 2.4,
Beginning short range fire.
which would be nice. But
We've secured a build pad.
we're also going to be adding the Chiss Ascendancy as a faction on the map. So there'll be other stuff happening in the unknown regions. Okay, you both didn't need to shoot that one.
Yes, sir.
Definitely tanking you.
Unit capacity. Production halted. We've lost a build pad.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Unit destroyed.
Spearheading assault.
Canderous tank ready.
Right now I'm just fucking around with the starting forces right now, so...
Commence assault.
Destroyed.
Moving out. All weapons loaded. Ready for attack.
Did you miss?
Destroyed.
T4B ready. Give me the target.
I wanted to see if the Mega Mazer tanks were still firing in the weird way they were before, which they don't seem to be, which is good.
Unit destroyed.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter that much if the Empire of the Hand is using Imperial Landers, because it is a faction that did get a lot of resources from the Empire. But once the Chiss are in, they'll have, ideally, their own stuff.
Roger that. Copy.
Bombing run available.
You're going to resize some of the units to the ground rear? A lot of the scaling has already been done. We may... Well, we'll probably make some further edits to it. But... units are mostly scaled properly relative to each other right now. Infantry are still oversized a bit. But let's actually build...
Beginning construction. Constructing. Construction complete.
There's Grant. Praetor.
Constructing unit.
We build a Peltist.
Construction complete.
The Thrawn Grant grudge match. So with the neutrals having Chiss ships. Well, this would be a specific Unknown Regions group. It's just right now the only Unknown Regions stuff we have is the Empire of the Hand stuff. And the Empire of the Hand stuff, as we edit it, is going to be based off of, as I was saying, like some local units, which is what the Kariak independent forces will eventually be. Some Chiss, like straight Chiss units, and some stuff that's made by them, like the Ascendancy Star Destroyer, will be that way. All their Star Destroyer types would be stuff that the Empire of the Hand made themselves. Well, the quote-unquote Carriac cruisers haven't been called that for several releases. Partially because it's a core unit for the Empire of the Hand, so when we renamed them, like we renamed every Empire of the Hand unit. So even though it was called Carriac Cruiser before, that has no impact on what the lore of the unit would be, as the rename wipes all that. And because Carriac joined the Empire of the Hand so late, and the Carriac now Froro Cruiser is such a core unit for them, it's like their basic frigate, it doesn't really make much sense to keep it tied to that.
Heading out.
Move out.
How does the Unknown Regions work in game? Well, same way anywhere else does. As far as like content we have planned for the future, we did a news post about that a while ago. So covering what some of the factions will be there. It was the first Vision of the Future update, I think.
Destroyer here.
So there was a video about it, there was a news post about it, so if you check those, it gives a basic rundown of what we want to do with it.
Target locked. Eliminating target.
Copy. The lasers are our target.
I am available.
Star Destroyer
Stay in
comms
formation.
open.
Get taken out. I have them now. Excellent shot. I got one. What is your analysis? Enemies in range. Target locked. Is about to eliminate
Copy.
Ready to receive orders.
target locked. Coming around.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Excellent shot.
Thrawn would approve.
Reporting.
Alright, there's Grant. Thrawn is clearly the better Grand Admiral.
It's headed your direction.
Because Thrawn would retreat from that battle.
Intercepting.
Let's get them sent for the station.
Standing by.
There's also a few Empire of the Hand heroes that we're probably going to be adding in the next build. Especially when someone like
Reporting in.
Aralani gets moved to the Chiss themselves.
Our target priority is the laser case. Awaiting orders.
Stay in formation. Target locked.
Ready to receive orders.
Awaiting your orders.
I'm on them.
Ascendancy at the ready.
I've got them in my sights. Eliminating
Awaiting your command. Your command, sir.
for another run.
We've got them on scopes.
Target locked.
Yeah, then the Chiss will become different factions. Well, the Chiss are just not in the mod at all. It's not like the Empire of the Hand is the Chiss and the Empire of the Hand. The Empire of the Hand is just the Empire of the Hand. But the Chiss will be added, so they'll have their own planets, they'll have their own factions.
I'm on them.
The only thing we've really done that would be combining the Empire of the Hand and Chiss is that we gave Aralani to the Empire of the Hand, because she was fairly sympathetic to Thrawn's goals. But when the Chiss themselves are there, then she can just be in her proper faction.
Wisely. Falling out of formation. Get this jammed. I have them now.
And then that'll hopefully stop all the people who keep thinking that the Empire of the Hand are the Chiss, which will be nice. Will any factions be getting new heroes next update? If you mean next update is in 2.3, then yes. The entire CIS, or not CIS, the entire corporate sector roster is new. I pointed out at the start of the stream some of the new Maldrude heroes. There's been a few Imperial hero changes. Then with 2.4, the Hapens will be getting their hero roster. Then there will be some other potential minor faction changes where there'll be other heroes with that. Empire of the Hand, like I just said, would get some other heroes like General Toss,
Ascendancy at the ready.
that kind of thing. Let's go fight that Precursor. Because that's a new model too.
Tactical battle imminent.
Are you going in for a complete redesign of all the Empire of the Hand ships? So
Enemy is approaching.
more or less, some will just be updates. to bring them a bit more in line with other stuff. And others, like some will be closer to what they currently are, others will be entirely scrapped and redone from the ground up.
If you insist.
And we have different priorities on each of them, so it's all not necessarily going to be done at the same time. So like the phalanx isn't going to be changed anytime soon, but it will probably be changed eventually. It's still on the lists. Especially now that we do have Valerie around, so an actual concept artist, and I'm just not fucking around in a modeling program based on nothing.
Do you have something to report?
Coming around. Target locked. Excellent shot. Under control.
I'm ready.
Go fight on Jameis. Oh yeah,
Locking on.
Rogue did just add the new Jameis map.
Form up. Attack commencing.
Awaiting
Ready to
orders.
receive orders.
Cover me now.
Destroyer here. Opening
What is
fire
it you
on the
want?
torpedo.
Unable to shake them.
Alright.
Ready for the kill. The lasers are our target. Those torpedo launchers must be destroyed.
Ascendancy at the ready.
Copy.
Orders confirmed.
Acknowledge setting a lock.
Let's go in for the station kill.
Understood. On our way.
Go after the struggle.
Destination plotted. Building trajectory.
Here we go.
Target locked.
Yeah, Snickers bars are pretty phallic.
Commence an attack run.
I copy.
I've heard of the Pride of Tarlandia, but it's not a class name.
Ready to receive orders. Frigate standing by. Awaiting your orders.
Eliminating target. Intercepting.
Yes, Commander.
I'm on them.
All batteries fire on the target.
Commander, they're hitting us. Target locked.
What do you need?
Yeah, it's not something where there's a bunch of extra information either. It's really just the brief shots in episode 6.
Fire for maximum effect.
Your reinforcements.
You have need of my skills? Initiating attack.
Destroyed. Get behind them. I have them now.
Destroyer con
Falling out of formation.
We'll get there.
I already have a plan.
Draw their fire. Locking on.
Sending stars on here.
And that stuff. Okay, if you want to leave, then I'll let you leave. I don't have any interdictors, so I have no choice.
Eliminating target.
Even if I did, I'd probably forget to use them.
Coming around. Target locked. Excellent shot. I've got them in my sights.
Another one down.
Is it a balance thing? No, it's not a balance thing. It's just a action design thing currently.
Right away.
Is there a plan to add more hero VO specifically to heroes that are already in the mod? We want to get VO for everything we can, but it's the kind of thing that obviously we need other volunteers to do. And Waylawful, who was handling the VO for 2.2, left the team a couple weeks ago. He was supposed to be doing another call for 2.3, but he left before he did that. So I don't really have the time to organize all the VO writing and recording and chasing people down for that. So we'll probably have to bring someone else in to do that. So I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do for that just yet. And it's just whatever people we get. If we have someone who's good for a role, then we'll use them for that.
The enemy is
You know what the next datapad video will be? That's actually, for this Saturday, it's going to be the Killix. I'm not sure what it'll be for next week, though.
Choose your reinforcements.
We'll be talking about like how the Killix made center point and all that stuff. and a bit about Celestials.
Indeed. Right away.
Reinforcements cancelled.
Already on it, sir. Location 1, heading out. Destroyer en route. Setting course.
I have calculated the possibilities.
Choose
Ron's gonna be all alone up here.
at maximum unit capacity. Production halted.
Reporting. Attack.
Yes, Commander. Understood.
After Jameis, we'll probably move on from the Empire of the Hand, go to one more faction, I think.
Star Destroyer standing by.
I'm on them. Enemies in range. Target locked.
Why did he leave the scene? So he basically lost interest in Star Wars stuff a while ago, and then wasn't really able to find the motivation to continue working on the
I am available.
Star Wars project, especially when he had other stuff going on.
Targeting at maximum firepower.
Receive orders. Sending Star Destroyer here.
Go after the stragglers.
What about the rest of the Soontir Fel vid? So I want to do Soontir Fel, the second half of his stuff, after I've had a chance to talk about the Empire of the Hand.
I'll take care of it.
Because there's a lot of stuff about the Chiss and the Empire of the Hand in that video, or there will be, and it won't really make, like, I don't want to have to explain the whole faction structure for both of them within the Soontir Fel video. I'd rather be able to say, like, if you want more information about that, you can go check out this other video that I've already done. So it'll probably be after those two happen.
Watch for enemy ships.
Destroyer pod open.
Yes, Commander.
Stay in formation. Getting a lock. Target locked. Intercepting. Taking fire.
Our launch bay is destroyed. Our target priority is the laser cannons.
Yes, Commander.
I mean, I can tell you that the switch from,
I'm waiting.
like, having it stuff classified as canon or legends doesn't really impact motivation. Like, most things where you'd have fan projects, it's basically just like the series ended as far as that goes. And then you just have the other stuff being made for other aspects of it. It's not really a he hates Disney thing or whatever. It's like, the thing that honestly kills motivation way more than any split did is the attitude that people have towards fans of whichever one they don't like.
Yes, Commander.
Like, people complaining about Legends or people complaining about Disney honestly kills my desire to work on Star Wars stuff way more than anything Disney has done.
I'm on them. Stay in formation.
Sending Star Destroyer here. Firing on the target.
Target locked.
Choose your position wisely.
The lasers are our target.
Now.
Yes, Commander.
I'm on them.
Sending moving out.
Excellent shot. I got one.
What do you need,
Coming
sir?
around.
Target acquired.
I'm in my sights.
Destroy their turbo lasers. Destroyer en route.
Tractor beam
Right, I'm just gonna get Arlong to finish these smaller guys. Thrawn's gonna die, but that's fine. We're not doing any more space stuff with the Empire of the Hand right now.
Locked. Eliminating target.
When are you planning to start work on separating the Chiss Ascendancy and the Empire of the Hand? We'll probably start it with 2.4. At least getting the Chiss set up with the ships that we've determined are going to be used by both factions, and then flesh it out a bit more from there. There will be a few things going on in the unknown regions like that for 2.4.
They destroyed our iron.
But of course, the main focus is going to be on the
We lost our turbo.
Hapens. Because we've obviously got assets that we're going to be using for the Chiss done from just working on the Empire of the Hand, because they are going to share some ships. And then we've also got stuff like the Yvi, or not the Yvins, the Siruvi, where we have a bunch of their assets done for space, where we can put them in a few places. Even though they're not going to be super fleshed out yet, just based on stuff that we've worked on for other stuff. Like, they're already in Ascendancy as an as a random event as a minor faction.
Commencing attack.
So we can just drop that into ICW and then flesh them out as we go again. And that lets us just get the Galactic Conquest set up a bit more consistent, because we're going to be editing that for the Hapen stuff, so we may as well also throw in some other future edits just to future-proof our stuff a little bit.
Excellent shot. I got one.
Taking fire.
Engaging the enemy.
I'm on them. Coming around.
Awaiting your command.
What do you need, sir?
Eliminating
Your command,
target.
sir.
The people who made the decision to split the universe were the people who were making stuff for the expanded universe in the first place.
Intercepting. I'm on them.
Sending star.
Like, the people who were in charge of that decision and the people who are running Legends now, or running canon now, are the same people who are running Legends now. Like, Jason Fry was heavily involved in Legends, and he was part of the storyboard that that made that decision. It wasn't like Disney, it's not like Bob Iger came in and said, I didn't like Truce at Bakura, so you have to do this now. It's that those were Lucasfilms were the people responsible for making those creative decisions, and they're the ones that made that determination. Like, Kathleen Kennedy has been there since George Lucas, and was put there by George Lucas.
Invasion commencing.
Copy.
Choose your
This is the Jameis map
reinforcements.
that Rogue just finished. A lot of space props.
Let's go.
Or space stations converted into props for land.
Course plotted.
Gozans,
Adjusting
MMTs.
navigator.
Advancing.
At
Course
maximum
plotted.
unit capacity. Production halted.
I copy. Keep going.
Roger.
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy absolutely gets blamed for a lot of stuff that she had. Like, it has nothing to do with her. Like, there was the whole Forces Female t-shirt thing that she was wearing, which was
Order
a
acknowledged.
shirt for an Air Force related thing that Nike was doing. And
Yes, Commander.
obviously that's proof that Kathleen Kennedy is inserting her SJW agenda into Star Wars. Like,
Order,
go
sir.
fuck yourself, people. So dumb.
Reporting. Spread out, man. Fire.
I copy.
Awaiting orders. Avoiding fire. Spreading out.
Attacking.
Ready. Over there. Yes, sir. Moving out.
We've secured a build pad. We've secured another
Well, the Megamazer tank
factory.
has been nerfed since 2.2, so a lot of stuff can shrug off at least one hit
Yes,
from it.
sir. Over there.
They're still quite strong, but
Constructing. Construction complete.
well, that's gonna die anyways, so
Yes,
get
Commander.
up here.
Unit
Oh no.
destroyed.
Roger.
Podwalkers are basically
All right, man. Take cover.
Imperial
Advancing.
MMTs.
T4B mobile. All weapons loaded. Yes, sir. Scouting.
Enemy vehicle factory reporting in.
T4B.
We've
Nope,
secured
first
a
dislike.
build pad.
Unit destroyed.
I guess someone got triggered by that.
At maximum
Adjusting
unit
navigator.
capacity. Production halted.
Ready to go.
Bombing run available. Our base is under attack.
Awaiting orders. Engaging enemy. Moving into position.
Roger that.
Copy. Right away, sir. Underway.
It's funny because the sequel trilogy is easily the least overtly political of any of the trilogies. Like, you have the original trilogy, which is basically America bad, fascism bad, Vietnam War bad.
Acquired.
And like Star Wars has always been political. The prequel trilogy was basically explicitly Palpatine is George W. Bush, everyone. This is him getting power during the Iraq War, everyone. But now Star Wars is getting politics injected into it. No? You ever seen Star Wars?
Unit destroyed.
Let's go.
I copy. Heading out. I copy. Reporting. Yes, sir. Right away.
Form up. Right away. Moving out.
Form up.
Yes, Commander.
Interesting, great. So yeah, right now they're still gravity effect. It's just a lot of the firing bones that shoot them aren't angled properly, so they just drop. And then I think the physics effect on them got turned down, so they just overshoot everything right now for a lot of it.
Awaiting orders.
So that will be changed. No, don't waste it. Oh.
Moving out. T4P.
Awaiting orders. Copy.
Bombardment available.
Open fire.
I got you. Copy.
Attack! Give me the target.
Reporting. Right away, sir.
Tank brigade.
On my way.
Setting up.
Order acknowledged.
Secure Aiden pad.
Yes, Commander.
Roger. Form up. Awaiting order. Fall out.
Order, sir.
We lost our base is under
Attack
attack.
that target. Attacking target. Fire at will. Reporting. Squad, advance.
Scanning area.
Attacking. Targeting. Move out.
All right.
Production halted.
Destroyed. Engaging target.
Awaiting
I
order.
copy. Reporting.
Fire! Open fire! Unit destroyed. Attack that target!
No, don't kill my ATPTs that I got from that other factory.
Unit destroyed.
Yeah, you guys go over there.
Yes, sir.
I have no idea where the base is, but I assume it's back here.
Yes, Commander. Commence assault.
Roger. Reporting in. Right away. Moving to that area, sir.
We secured a landing zone.
Firing. Affirmative.
Ready. Ready for attack. Unit destroyed. All weapons level.
Unit destroyed.
Form up.
T4P.
Awaiting orders.
Destroyed.
All right, so we'll go to one more faction, I think.
System conquered.
Who do you guys want to go to last? We've done CSA, some Raidu, Empire of the Hand. Extra Thick says Meldrew, Tridon says IR. Says IR. Right, actually I think we will do Final Imperial Push, because there's something I need to check with the story scripting there as well. Alright, so
Moving
that
out.
all spawned. That's good.
Heading out.
Location
And then I think Rogris spawns a bit later. Yeah, because we do have Dominion here. No, that's Megador and Dominion. Okay, so Rogris would be in Kamas. Or he'd be in the earlier one, not this one. I forget when he fucked off to Adamar. I guess before this. Okay, so that all checks out.
Mission log updated.
Double Bellator, what does it mean?
Fallout.
Tactical battle imminent.
You can do the old Pelion and Pathfinder, put Megador and Dominion in the battle. So if you have all three of them in the same fleet, without a Pathfinder, then I think it'll put all of them in.
There they are.
Because Empire will.
Choose your reinforcements.
Think you're hiding from me, Guardian. I'll let it come out, then we're gonna throw Megador and Dominion at it. Pelion would be in Reaper. Alright, Megador,
Let's move out.
Omega there. Dominion,
Let's go.
Omega there. And a Lancer frigate. And a BST too.
Light B, Commander. Reporting in.
I'm not sure if the camera, the cinematic camera, has different fade distances than the actual in-game thing does.
Roger that.
Draw distance. 'Cause I want them all to show up like this.
Our target priority is
Unless we can just put it into distance fade exclusion.
Destroyer here.
But Executor is going to be getting a new model. After I do the Asserter, after I finish the Asserter,
Open
then the
fire.
next SSD I probably work on will be the
Our target priority is the laser cannons.
Executor, unless
The lasers
Valerie
are our
finishes
target.
the concept for the Hapen SSD. Which would be more on the scale of like a Praetor than a Bellator or anything like that. Or even a Bellator.
Reporting. The
The Executor is going to get scaled up even more, so it's closer to its proper size.
Master frigate reporting.
Because we generally do it with diminishing returns after a certain point, just to help with pathfinding and targeting and all that, but with some other adjustments we're
Star Destroyer reporting in.
going to be okay, I think.
Yes, Commander. Attacking target.
Yes, Commander. Engines activated.
They got the extra initial burst damage, because I jumped in right on top of them.
Your orders.
Form up. Hit the ion cannon banks.
Attack formation.
Bombs away.
Awaiting your command.
Regroup for another.
They had a little MC-80B trying to challenge us over here, but it's not Mon Ramonda. This is an Iron Fist, so no plot to save you.
Target priority is the laser
Awaiting
cannons.
orders.
Cruiser
Right,
reporting.
VST.
Launching
Power to
attack.
weapons. Show them what you're worth.
Returning to your position.
Taking fire.
I'll take care of this.
Any chance you could upload a file of the Asserter and Executor in max format before you scale it? Scaling doesn't really change the model.
Your command. Fire at will.
My scopes are jammed. Nowhere to
Commander.
cross, about to be destroyed.
Yeah, tractor beams are pretty common in Star Wars, so Dark went through and added it to most ships,
Take out the iron cannons.
especially since we're not using the secondary ability slot for anything, even when we do add other abilities.
Online. Attack position.
So no reason not to have it.
Fire at their laser cannons.
Closing on target.
Target those lasers. Roger
Where are
that.
the others?
Coming around.
I've got him.
Shield's almost gone.
Sir,
Pursuing enemy forces. Cover me now. Watch for
I'm
ships.
again, that doesn't really like. I'm not modeling it in max at 19 kilometers. Like the unit scales in max don't really matter that much, and then when you export it, and then you can scale it with the XML. Like it's not. When I model it, I just adjust it to what I'm going to scale it to when we export it, or export it and then adjust it with the XML scale, or like
Scopes are jammed. Where are the others?
not really a
Switch position.
thing where I'm converting it to the units beforehand.
Gun them down. Intercept it. Taking them out. Cover me
Destroyer
now.
here.
You won't be around much longer.
Copy.
For
Targeting.
enemy ships. Unable to shake them.
Our lasers are destroyed.
Go after them. Taking fire. Engaging the enemy. Regroup.
Fire.
Been hit.
Weapons ready.
I'm on this one.
Pressing the attack.
Engines are
Direct fire
malfunctioning.
at their laser
Under
cannons.
control.
In AOTR, I'm pretty sure it's the ion cannon like energy drain that prevents the retreat. I don't think the tractor beams do it.
Initiating attack.
Nowhere to go.
Reporting.
Returning to your position.
Our target
Headed your
priority
direction.
is the
Your
laser
command.
cannon.
All right, we lost Megador.
Moving to coordinates.
I'll take care of this.
Star Destroyer reporting in.
If we hadn't jumped them in right on top of Guardian,
We've got
they wouldn't have died because of the bonus damage off the top.
Ready for battle.
Ready for battle.
Where are the others? Watch your back.
awaiting orders. Awaiting your orders.
Thanks, Chatone. Appreciate it.
Losing control. Attack formation. Shield's almost gone. I can't switch position. Closing on target. Pursuing
They've
enemy
destroyed
ships.
our ion cannons.
Cover me now. Gun them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't have it so that the tractor beams prevent hyperspace.
Taking
The
them out.
lasers are our target.
I'm pretty sure it'd just be ion cannons draining the energy in that case. That's one of the reasons that Bob actually removed that in Phoenix Rising, because it is so hard to tell what's going on for the player. Like, there's no indicator on the ship of when it has energy or not.
Engaging the enemy.
Roger that.
He's about to be
Open
destroyed.
fire. We're
I'm on
moving
this
out.
one.
Full
He's
speed.
headed your direction.
Form up.
Under control.
Move out.
Watch him. He's coming around. Narrow
Destroyer
position.
here.
Returning to your position. Tightening
We do need to do more adjustments to the tactical AI,
Copy.
specifically with how it handles the defensive on stuff on stations. Like, we've changed the thing where everything gets parked under the stations, and then you can just wipe everything out. But there's still some stuff that decides it wants to do that whenever the stuff is it's fighting. Makes it a bit easier.
We are victorious.
Yeah, the death cone scales still need to be adjusted with that too.
Retreat aborted.
Is that really Fent? Pretty much. Like, Pelion had Reaper, and then the New Republic didn't know about. No, that wasn't Rinda. I always get that stuff mixed up right now. But they had 2 surprise SSDs and used it
Order confirmed.
to take territory, and the only time that was ever successful for the Empire. Do this without SSDs. Let's go to Bobring.
Coming around.
Close out the stream with another battle like that.
Tactical battle imminent.
The enemy is approaching.
Choose your reinforcements.
Heading to destination. We're moving out. Move out. We shall be there shortly. Right away.
Coming about.
At once.
We're probably going to do an ISD overhaul as well.
Destination
Where
confirmed.
we only changed the model in 2.2, but we have we bumped up our poly limits a little bit.
Let's go.
We're right now they're about 4,000 to 6,000 polys. We can probably get them up to 12,000, but reduce the poly counts on collision and shadow meshes, so that it should even be a net performance improvement,
Attacking target.
which will be nice. Nighthammer didn't actually have a cloaking device. It was just that it had the stealth armor, which is basically like a stealth bomber, but SSD.
Yes, Commander. Fire at will. Awaiting orders.
So harder to pick up on radars, harder to actually physically see, but it wasn't a cloaking device. Terror did have a cloaking device.
Awaiting your command.
With Bellator, or not with Bellator, with Dominion and Megador, the Empire basically, they were built by Zero Command, I think, and they just didn't have the people to crew them, so they were mostly abandoned at D3. But the Empire found them when Dala was taking all the Warlord territory, and so they crewed them. The New Republic wasn't aware that they were a thing yet, and then they were able to use them in surprise attacks. And then all that kind of became the final impetus for the New Republic building the Viscount.
Destroyer here.
Enemies in range.
Shields are down.
I copy.
Yes, Commander.
Taking him out.
Reporting.
Primary drive system is
Star
down.
Destroyer standing by.
Engaging the enemy.
They've destroyed our lasers.
Destroyed.
Star Destroyer.
Sorry for the
reporting in.
freezes there. Have to keep clicking outside the window.
Firing.
Yes, Commander.
Awaiting order.
Yes, Commander.
They will be destroyed.
Alright, bombers. There you go.
Awaiting orders.
Copy.
Awaiting your orders.
That was in Scylla, so the Venator. Nighthammer had been gone for a while by the time this happened.
At their laser cannon.
Awaiting your command. We shall be there shortly.
That would be 4 SSDs, and that would just be ridiculous. 3, reasonable. 4, nah. Let's not get too crazy here.
Target at maximum firepower. Reporting.
Commander. Reporting in.
Watch him. He's coming around.
Awaiting instruction.
Ugh.
Roger that.
Tonight I'll probably finish the skin and rig for Count Dooku. That'll be another reason to join the Discord on top of the beta.
Destroyer here.
So I'll put a picture on up in there
Navigating to coordinates.
of my terrible infantry skinning abilities, which will
I copy.
hopefully improve as I do more, because Fall of the Republic will involve a lot of that.
Commencing.
Where's Lusankid during this period? It's around. It's just not involved necessarily in this specific conflict.
Gunship reporting.
That was more of a Guardian thing with Akbar, because they didn't really know what they'd be up against.
Open fire.
Yes,
Then Lusankid needed a long rest before it just speared a world ship.
awaiting orders.
The launch bay is gone.
Engines are
Awaiting
malfunctioning.
your orders.
Batteries online.
We're being
Awaiting
targeted.
your command.
Awaiting orders. Changing course to intercept.
The PA still technically has a similar amount of starting power,
Disabled.
as they did when they started with both Vengeance and
Reporting in. Open fire.
Reaper. It's just now it's spread between other ships, so they can actually have other ships instead of just having it all put into 2 ships.
Falling out of formation. Draw their fire.
Fire at will. Heading out.
Stay in formation. Acquiring target. Course set.
Destroyer here. Copy. Fallout. I copy.
I got him. Get behind him.
Let's move out.
Almost gone.
Attacking.
I'm on.
Reporting.
Target
Target.
about to be destroyed.
Star Destroyer standing by.
Your direction.
Let's go.
Engaging the enemy. Eliminating target. I've got them in my sights. I'm on this one.
Fire. Star Destroyer reporting in.
Watch him.
Yes,
He's coming
Commander.
around.
Oh, you guys are trying to sneak through.
Awaiting.
That's no good.
Narrowing position. Intercepting. Cover me now.
Yes,
Tightening
sir.
up.
Holding fire
Awaiting
for
your orders.
maximum
Let's
effect.
do
Going.
this.
This way.
Enemy ships.
At your command. Attack that target.
Awaiting your command.
Lock. Closing on target. The enemy has been defeated.
Nice papercraft Star Destroyer. That'd be nice.
Retreat aborted.
Transmission received.
Okay, let's just grab the forces from Bastion. We'll invade Oberdon,
Way, sir.
and I think that'll do it.
Enemy fleet approaching. Tactical battle imminent.
No. Okay.
Tactical battle
Nope.
imminent.
Okay.
System lost.
Nope.
Invasion
Okay.
commencing.
Nope. The smaller ships are harder to hit. So
Choose your
usually when you're using a similar amount to other stuff, like it depends on what they're fighting.
On my way.
If you're fighting a lot of fighters, smaller ships tend to be better. If you're fighting specific stuff like allegiances that are made to take out other ships like that, then it can be a bit more difficult.
Heading out.
This one's Final Imperial Push.
Yes, sir. On my way, sir. Reporting. Order acknowledged.
Oh.
sensor node constructing.
Yes, Commander. Yes, Commander. Yes,
Come
sir.
on.
Heading out.
Construction.
Order, sir. The enemy has been
Yes,
spotted.
Commander.
Enemy has been spotted. Good point, everyone.
Affirmative, sir.
I think this was the Jabin map originally that we made.
Reporting.
Enceladus made. Unless that's another new one. All the swamp planets look the same to me.
Ready. Fallout.
Awaiting orders. Fallout troops.
New Republic people over there.
Reporting. Walker moving out. As you wish, General. Ready.
Yes, sir.
Avoiding
Ready to
fire. Attacking target. Fire at will. Attacking. Yes, sir. Let's move out.
Awaiting orders.
Little rockety stormies. Oh no! One of our rockety stormies died.
Targeting.
Affirmative. Let's move out.
Yes, Commander.
Truly,
Right
they are the
away.
greatest among us. But yeah, so, quick recap. Beta will be starting next Thursday in the most limited form of it. where it'll just be for the Super Awesome Save Crash Task Force, the hand-selected group of people within the Discord. As we need more people, we'll probably pick more people to add to that. Then there will be 2 weeks after that, on the 28th, yes, that's when the anyone in the Admiral's Lounge on the Discord server, fuck, it happened again. That's when anyone with the Admiral's Lounge or Admiral ranks on the Discord server will get access. Then, okay, so that wasn't a one-off issue. But 2 weeks after that, it'll get, or a week or two after that, it'll get opened up to everyone. Then it'll get put on the Steam Workshop around June 13th. Or July 13th, not June 13th. And we will move it to Mod Database a couple weeks after that when we've had chances to make a patch or two as necessary. But that is apparently going to do it for the stream, so hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's also, I should also say, thank you for subscribing there, Oliver. That reminds me that we have hit 15,000 subscribers on the channel. So I'm going to be planning the next 12-hour stream very soon. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to do it. I was thinking next Saturday, but I have a barbecue to go to next Saturday, so it's not going to work that. Might be the Saturday after that. Not 50,000, 15,000. 50,000 would be really cool. But yeah, so that'll probably, tentative date on that would be Saturday the 21st, but I just have to check to make sure that actually works. But yeah, so thanks again for watching, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the 2.2 previews, or 2.3 previews. Hope you're looking forward to playing the mod. And I'm hoping also that we can fix that stupid crash. But yeah, join the Discord if you haven't, and I will see you next time. There will be another stream very soon for recording the last of the Imperial Civil War 2.3 preview playthrough as the Empire as well. But bye, everyone.